It is truly sickening. Because first of all, you know what exactly they're going to say? Because they've been saying it for years. We didn't ask you to do any of that shit for us. We didn't ask you to take no water hoses. We're not asking for your help. Trust me, black people throughout the decades have been saying time and time again, we don't want y'all help, mind y'all business. Man, I'm gonna catch some hate for this one. I can see it now. I can feel it now. I'm gonna catch some flack for this one, but I'm gonna do it anyway. What's going on, guys? It's your host, Bruce GNT. And we're back on TikTok, and we need to talk about something important, something that's been going on. I've been seeing on my feeds on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, pretty much everywhere. And what it is that people have this idea that Trump is bringing back segregation. Saying it out loud, because I've said it in my head, but saying it out loud is kind of crazy because I'm saying it, I'm just like, reading is such a fundamental skill that when you don't do it, people really can be like taken advantage of and fooled. So I'm not going to waste your time. We're going to jump right into the video. And then from there, we're going to mine out exactly the truths and the lies about it. Okay? So let's go.
It's time to speak up. They're rolling back segregation. They are rolling back segregation. It is now no longer illegal to require separate facilities for people of different races. It is no longer illegal to say, here's the white water fountain and here's the colored water fountain. To be clear, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is still in place and has not been disbanded. But we know what their goal is. There is always step one in a process, and we absolutely know what their goal is. They are rolling back segregation. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because this time, white people, we are the ones that are going to be on the front crossing that bridge. Do you hear me? We are the ones that are going to stand in the streets. Our black countrymen have done their time at the front of the lines, and it is our turn. It is our turn to face the water hoses and to face the dogs and to face the tear gas because we have let this happen. Not on my watch. Not while there is breath in me will we go back. Is anybody out there with me? Go love your neighbor.
You know, I do videos like this and I commentate about like a lot of different type of people. And if you watch like just half of my videos, like you probably think I dislike white people, especially white women. I don't. I like all people. Unless you do something wrong to me, then I'm not gonna like you. Because even this woman right here, I don't dislike her. I think she's grossly ignorant because we're gonna get into that later. But I think I made a video, it was like a real random video where I talked about how white liberal women piss me off because it's just like, y'all want to be in the club so bad. Y'all want to be down with us so bad. And I'm going to tell you why it's so stupid. It's so stupid because y'all are trying so hard to be victims to say, hey, look, I'm one of you. Like, I also know what it's like. Y'all trying so hard to be down. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a secret, right? I'm going to give you a little bit of a secret. Black people don't fucking like y'all. The same black people that you try to advocate for, that you try to say, oh yeah, we're gonna stand up for them, we're gonna fight the dogs for them, we're gonna stand. They don't like you. I know this because I'm part of Black Spaces. I'm part of conversation where they talk about certain things. And one thing I can say, especially the ones that are very much for Black love, you know, Black power, you know, Black excellence and everything like that. By and large, not every single last one, but by and large, they don't like y'all. They see you and they don't know what your political affiliation is just by looking at you, and they don't care. All they see is a white person, much less a white woman. They don't like you. You should hear the shit they be saying about y'all. They be calling y'all 8.5 by 11, which is, if you didn't know, piece of paper, a white sheet of paper. Calling y'all mayonnaise. Be calling y'all bird shit. They be calling y'all all different types of names, and y'all sitting up there tap dancing for them, being like, we'll stand with you. They don't like y'all. They really don't. They really don't. And look, the funniest part is that when I stand up for white people, 'cause I stand up for anybody. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. I don't think it's right to talk down about anybody based off the color of their skin or based off your preconceived notions with no like discernible evidence. I don't think that's right. So I get flack for it. I get told I'm tap dancing because I just want to say, you know what? Maybe we should look a little bit more than skin deep. But they don't like y'all. They truly do not. I've been in pure black spaces where they talk about, especially white women, like dogs at times. I go places with like some of my white homegirls, right? I'm in like either Ohio, Alabama, whatever. And you should see the nasty looks black women be giving them. And we don't even be paying them no mind. It's so bad. One of my friends, she doesn't notice anything. She walks through life just like blinders on. And it got so bad that she noticed it and was like, yeah, a lot of the black women here are just eyeballing me. And I was like, because we're walking together. They don't like when y'all date their men. They automatically look at you guys, which I say is wrong all the time, and just think that you're just a racist woman that thinks you're better than them because you're white, blonde, blue-eyed, whatever have you. These are the notions that they freaking have. But y'all sitting up here caping for them so hard because you trying to get in the club so badly. I'm not saying that what like the heart of what she's talking about, okay, I respect that. I understand exactly what she's trying to get at. First of all, if you do like a little bit of research, you'll find out that I'm not gonna say none. A great deal of what she said was not true. It wasn't. And we're gonna get into that later. But I look at these things and I laugh. I laugh. The amount of videos I go through and I see where it's like there's a black and white couple and how black people, men or women, down talk them so much. They don't even like when y'all have children that are biracial. They talk the most shit about biracial children that have white moms and black fathers. So while you sitting up there welling up in the eyes, tearing up and shit, they laughing behind your back talking about, yeah, we don't deal with these pasty They call y'all all different types of names. Pretty impressive how they come up with so many different types of names for you guys. I will give them that. But it's just, it's foul to me. Because I got people that I'm related to that are white. I got people that I know that are white. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's right to talk down about anybody. But this nonsense right here, this little like savor me thing that y'all like to do sometime, not all. I don't think I have to say all, but the ones you know I'm talking about is sickening. It is truly sickening. Because first of all, you know what exactly they're gonna say? Because they've been saying it for years. We didn't ask you to do any of that shit for us. We didn't ask you to take no water hoses. We're not asking for your help. Trust me, black people throughout the decades have been saying time and time again, we don't want y'all help, mind y'all business. That's what they've been saying. After the election, do you know what they were saying after the election? They said, yeah, we're gonna take a step back. Y'all white people, especially white women, y'all on your own. They was talking about y'all like dogs. Same thing with white men. So when I see these people up here talking about, we stand with black people, I'm like, these black people don't even like y'all, bro. And then they talk down to other people of color, whether they're black or not, that try to defend people like you and call them all different types of names. I know, because I've been called some. You know. What's another point? Yeah, let's get into why she's wrong real quick and not waste any more time. So what we're going to go over is a USA Today news article basically talking about what was going on with the Trump admin and how he's trying to reinstate segregation. Trump admin no longer requires ban on segregated facilities and government contracts. The Trump administration is no longer requiring an explicit prohibition of segregated facilities and new government contracts. The February 15th memo from the U.S. General Services Administration was first reported by NPR Tuesday. Segregation is still illegal in the U.S., and the memo states contractors are still subject to laws on civil rights and non-discrimination. Essentially, what they're trying to say is they're trying to get rid of the verbiage saying that within those contracts where they explicitly state, hey, look, we don't have X, Y, and Z segregated facilities, and we have a, you know, insert person of color, black woman, black man, Asian woman, and they don't have to specifically put that because they would put those things in those government contracts so they could procure the contract because they had DEI measures. That's essentially what it was. All they're saying is that they're getting rid of the verbiage that you need to put that explicitly in there because you're already, if you're working with the U.S. government and you're working for a contract, you already fall under their jurisdiction when it comes to their law. In other words, you can't segregate regardless. What they're saying is that you don't have to worry about putting that verbiage in there because it's already known. As with many other things, they don't have to worry about putting certain verbiages in there because it's a known thing. You can't do that. And if you do that, they have certain things for you. But let's continue reading. But a directive from the GSA, which manages federal property and sources contradicting options for other agencies, came in response to one of President Donald Trump's executive orders aimed at rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion in the federal government. Here's what to know about the order. Following anti-DEI order, federal agencies nixed 1960 segregation prohibition from contracts. The memo states that changes to the contract and solicitations terms for the federal agencies are necessary after Trump's January 21st, executive order titled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity. In other words, getting rid of the idea that you have to have DEI verbiage or vocabulary within your contract to procure that contract, because usually what happens is that they get pushed to the front. Along with other programs, Trump's considered under the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility umbrella. The order revoked the 1965 Equal Employment Opportunity Executive Order signed by former President Lyndon B. Johnson. Johnson's order required government contracts to include non-discrimination language. In its place, as the memo lays out, contracts do not include provisions including 52.222-21, prohibition of segregated facilities, which includes restrooms, drinking fountains, and transportation. So, let's jump right to that. Gender identity as the meaning given by the Department of Labor's Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs as found in, and is found at, I'm not reading that. Segregated facilities means any waiting rooms, work areas, restrooms, and washrooms, restaurants, and other eating areas, time clocks, locker rooms, and other storage or dressing areas, parking lots, drinking fountain, recreation and or entertainment areas, transportation, and housing facility provided for employees that are segregated by explicit directive or are in fact segregated on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin because of written or oral policies or employee custom. The term does not include separate or single-use restrooms or necessary dressing or sleeping areas provided to assure privacy between the sexes. The contractor agrees that it does not and will not maintain and provide its employees any segregated facilities at any of its establishments, and that it does not and will not permit its employees to perform their services at any location under its control where segregated facilities are maintained. The contractor agrees that a breach of this clause is a violation of the Equal Opportunity Clause in this contract. The contractor shall also include this clause in every subcontract and purchase order that is subject to the Equal Opportunity Clause of this contract. So in other words, like that woman was misinformedly saying, they're not banning people from using water fountains. First of all, I can't remember the last time I used a water fountain. I think the last time I used a water fountain was if it wasn't during recruit training, it was probably back in high school. So that's nix. But let's talk about why that whole notion is stupid. The reason why it's stupid because just like I said before, there are laws against segregation that you can't overturn. And let's just say he wanted to overturn it, like what's been going on with judges throughout the US, they can block it. So he did not overturn segregation. 2, any place that is maintaining segregation, like they put up whites only or whatever, they will lose business because people won't go there. The only reason that I can fathom why people would think this could fly and it would actually work in today, let's just say someone put up a whites only sign, is because people have the notion, the idea that most white people are racist and they're going to become a patron to that business even though they have a whites only sign hung up in their like establishment. If they were to start doing this in the US, businesses wouldn't have business. They will go out of business because the whole point is to market to the most amount of people to get the most amount of money. They will go out of business. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to argue this point because it's stupid. It's legit stupid. And I can't argue stupid points because my mind just doesn't work like that. I'm not ass backwards. I'm really not. Now, to talk about the final reason why I'm confused that this even took off like this and why people were so up in arms about it. I speak to a lot of black people and I'm part of a lot of black spaces. And one thing I can tell you is that black people already do segregation. They already talk about how black love means you can't be dating outside your race. They talk about these things openly. They talk about having black owned business and only shopping black owned. We're not even going to talk about how a lot of them have this notion that, you know, after the election, they were just like, yeah, we're not going to associate with anybody that is Hispanic, white. These are things that they were saying on TikTok, on Instagram, everywhere. They were saying that, how they're going to go their own way, especially black women. Isn't this what some of y'all wanted in the black community? I mean, isn't this what some of y'all wanted? Y'all talk not to date out your race and everything like that. Like this is so bad that the colorism within the black community is that when they see black men with a lighter skinned woman, and I'm saying this because of experience, and not only that, what you see just online, people tear them to shreds. It's always the brothers that you see with the light skinned girls that look so close to white, and it's like we have colorism that bad in our own community. So I'm very confused when I heard this and black people were upset. Y'all already doing that shit. Y'all already have your own segregated everything. The amount of times I talk to black people that say, oh, how many black people gonna be there? Oh, that's too white. Nah, I can't go there. It's too many white people. Y'all already do this shit. So what are you complaining about? They're gonna give you exactly what you want. If this was real, it's not real. It's not gonna happen. It's stupid. But I'm just saying, in the fantasy land that this is fucking real, you guys already live in a state of where you separate yourselves from everyone else in the first place. So help me understand what's the issue. You know what? You guys separate yourself so much that there's a term called FBA, which is Foundational Black American. In other words, they separate themselves to even smaller categories, saying if you're not a black that was brought here from, slavery and everything like that, the Atlantic slave trade, that you don't really count when it comes to certain conversations within the black community. So in other words, I wouldn't count because I'm half Asian, my father's Thai, and I'm Guyanese, and my family came over in the 70s. So for them, they'll be like, I don't have the right to speak about black issues or black American issues. That's how much these guys isolate themselves and segregate themselves. That they do it within people with the same skin color. And then they heard this and they lost their mind. So imagine my confusion when I'm just like, y'all mofos are already doing this. So what's the big deal? What's the issue? But like I said, look, I'm probably gonna catch heat and flack for this. I enjoy it. It's fine. I don't really care. But I the whole thing was so stupid, I really didn't even want to talk about it. I cannot stress how dumb it is. Segregation is not coming back. Even if it was to come back, businesses that wanted to maintain that would go out of business because no one would be a patron for them. And then not only that, let's just take it a little bit step further. Let's just say that was to be a thing. Black people wouldn't even give a damn. They really wouldn't. Because they've already been talking about being like, they've already talked about only shopping at black-owned businesses, buying black-owned products. They talk about doing everything black, pro-black. They talk about it consistently. So they wouldn't really care. So white people, especially white women, don't splash yourself with hoses and shit. Like, don't do that. Because first of all, no one asked you to. Second of all, you're gonna look goofy. And third of all, I'm gonna stress the first point again. No one fucking asked you to. But what do I know? I'm just a person that likes to read. You guys already know the drill. I already know how this is gonna go. Hopefully people pay attention and can just listen for more than half a second. Tell me your thoughts down in the comments. I want this to be an open discussion. This is not an echo chamber. I want people to voice how they really feel. And let me know if I'm wrong. Because I know I'm not, but if you can prove that I'm wrong, go right ahead. And subscribe if you want more, because I will be doing more. Not like this, because this is stupid. But I will be doing more where I just talk about things that's going on and then try to debunk the lies. Peace.